Can we back it up in Adelaide? The guys from Here We Crow are here to figure it all out.
Knocks it down to the front. He gets it back. Goldie. Some poetry in slow motion from Goldie to Lucky. Don't you want to be him? He's got 9.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Further North. What a fun week it has been. How good is chatting footy after a win? Something we're not too used to. At the barbershop this week, it has been so fun getting to chat to everybody, just being like, well, when you have as many wins as us, then you can chat to me. You know what I mean? So much fun. So what a good week. How good is this? But we have to back it up against Adelaide. Welcome back to the preview pod. We have some very special guests coming on like we always do. The whole team from Here We Crow are here to chat about Adelaide versus North Melbourne. A very, very tough test in Adelaide, which is scaring me a little bit. But hey, has Adelaide played the best teams? St Kilda and who'd they smash? Essendon, that's right. Maybe not, but what are we? Are we actually that? What we played like, how we played last week? Are we going to fold it back a little bit? Was that a one-off? There's so many questions. So anyway, let's jump straight into the interview. Then we're going to go to live team reaction. We're going to tip. We're going to talk about some stuff and some news. So we'll see you guys soon. Enjoy the chat with Here We Crow. Welcome back to Further North, everybody. We've got a massive game coming up this weekend against the Crows, who are white hot at the moment. And you know, every single week we try and get the expert knowledge. I've heard these guys are experts. We've got Sam, Lauren and Ben from Here We Crow.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, look, I've heard the word, guys. I've heard the word. Thank you for jumping on, though. It's a pleasure to have you on. We're both looking all right, both coming off wins. It might be an interesting game on the weekend, but how are you feeling about this game coming up?
Well, I guess we've always had the wood over North for a long time.
So most teams, mate.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to rub anything in here. We've been terrible as well, so don't take any cockiness as confidence.
I think we have an unsettling amount of optimism at the moment.
Yeah.
It's something we haven't felt for a long time.
All that means is it's a deep dive into oblivion, usually.
Yeah.
So.
But I guess we're going in reasonably confident being at home. Our team has shaped up amazingly this year after a very poor year last year. I guess we follow the team really closely, so we've seen where the improvement was likely to come this year. But to put it all together, I guess getting those players in the off season has sort of turned the team around.
I think it's getting the players and having pretty much zero injury list as well makes a big difference.
Massive difference, yeah.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask, what's the biggest turnaround? Like bottom 4 last year, unluckily so. I mean, it was the bottom 3 last year, to be honest. But you know, what's the big change from last year to this year? Is it just injuries, or is something different?
I think it's a bit of everything, really.
Yeah, I think there's personnel, but I think the biggest thing that we've changed so far this year is the way we attack the game. Like last year, we seemed to come into the season going, I'm a bit worried about how many points we give up, and we went all defensive and couldn't score to save ourselves, whereas this year they seem to have a licence to actually attack, move the ball quickly and get more shots on goal.
Yeah, I'm definitely nervous about this game. It's not a happy hunting ground for North Melbourne, to be fair, anywhere in the AFL in the last few years, but especially over there. Did you guys catch any of the game against the D's at all?
Yeah, I watched a little bit last night. You got some good players. Like, you have quality players. So, you know, I think they proved last night that they can absolutely pull it off when they're going 100%. So that's what's scary to us as Crows fans, because we know that it can go very wrong. So if you guys are on, then we've definitely got to be on.
Yeah, absolutely. Is it true you've never won at Adelaide Oval?
I think that has been the discourse getting thrown around. I find it hard to believe, even from back in the day. But it's been a very, very long time regardless. I can't confirm or deny, but it feels like we haven't won in many grounds for a long time. So, look, it's one of the worst road trips. I always say Geelong is probably my least favourite stadium to go to, because I know we're going to get absolutely decimated. But going over to Adelaide, not great either, even if the Crows haven't been up and about. How are you feeling going into it? I guess let's get into maybe your season first, actually. Did you expect this? Did you expect to be sort of one of the most informed teams after 2 rounds, or is this sort of surprising to you guys?
We have very low expectations as Crows fans, I think.
I don't think we came in thinking we'd have 2 10-goal wins coming into round 3.
Yeah.
I think overall we would have hoped for some sort of improvement. Otherwise, we're looking for a new coach. But But yeah, I think we're looking a lot better than we thought we would. But we're also, yeah, as we said, no injuries, and I think we potentially have played two teams that have allowed us to play the way we wanted to play. So that's not going to happen all season long. So it's once we get a team that challenges us and puts the pressure on us, that'll show us where we're actually at.
We've definitely been coming up over the last couple of years. I mean, 2023 was a great year for us. Last year, not so much. So, you know, it's hard to be extremely confident in the Crows because, you know, we saw it fail last year. So at this point, it's very nice. It's very nice to feel good about the team, even though it's only been 2 games. And yeah, it is nice to have that confidence.
Yeah.
Where did you think you were going to be, like pre-season predictions? Where did you guys sort of put yourselves on the ladder? Because it is a big jump into finals from, you know, bottom 4, but you're looking really, really good at the moment. Where did you see yourselves maybe being before the season started?
Some varied opinions,
I think we had, on the table here, we had 2 5ths and a 9th.
Yeah.
But confident that you were going to get better, though.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I think so. I think, well, you know, we can't not be confident that we're going to get better. It feels like the only way is up for the Crows, and I think you probably, you know, understand that. Like, you hit rock bottom and you're like, well, the only way is up. So surely we're going to get better. Surely it's going to happen.
I think the end of last year, from such a terrible season, it was crazy. We actually felt quite buoyed after like draft and trade period. We actually felt like we had a few wins there, which is not a common thing for us. So I think we did feel that coming into next season, if a couple of things go our way, surely, well, we're not going to go 14th, so surely we're on our way up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Who do you think some of your best players are? Who this season? Give us 2 or 3 names. Who's stood out and been the reason why you're playing so well?
Oh, well, the number one's the captain, Jordan Dawson. An absolutely immense pickup for us.
I think the other one in the midfield that is Saligo, just the way he's really brought more zip to the midfield and ball movement.
Yeah, and we saw a taste of it at the end of last year, but Riley Thilthorpe is just an absolute beast. So, just defence is... We've always, we played quite a defensive game style last year, which really didn't highlight how good our forward line has shaped up. And now being able to take Rankin out and put him in the midfield and still look as dangerous as we are is testament to how powerful our forward line is. Yeah,
the key position forwards for you guys as well look very, very good. I'm surprised. I think I haven't actually watched heaps of the Crows. I've seen a couple of segments on them on 360 and First Cracker, that sort of stuff. Tex Walker's still in the side?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So have you got 3 key tools up there?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. And we've got options for another one in Dan Curtin as well. So, yeah, we've got a lot of tallies up there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a criticism at the start from a few quarters saying that we're going into games too tall, and I guess conditions are going to dictate whether we do that or not.
I think with how clean our entry has been allowed to be, it hasn't been a problem that we've been so tall because we've been able to spot up marks. It's probably if it's a higher pressure game where we start dumping the ball in and more come to ground, that's where we might get shown up for a lack of speed and be a little bit too easy to exit outside our 50.
You'd be feeling pretty confident against our defence, I would guess. I mean, we don't have the best names in defence, or as a unit, I don't think it works. I mean, we were fantastic on the weekend, don't get me wrong. I mean, Jackson Archer going out of the side and Griffin Logue, really bad run with injuries for him. But, Toby Pink and Charlie Comben, Aiden Core sort of being the 3 down there that were holding it up. Chom had a great game, and the other 2 played their role very, very well. But do you think your forward line is an area you can get on top of us, or do you reckon we showed maybe a little bit more than people give us credit for back there?
I think you definitely showed more than people were giving you credit for, especially considering the names.
Yeah, Charlie had a huge game yesterday, so he'll definitely be one to watch for us, I think. And it'll be interesting to see who he gets matched up on, I reckon.
But I think on paper and from what we've seen so far this year, I'd back our forward line in against any defence.
I think it'll depend largely on how much your midfield lets us get easy ball in. If we're getting in there fairly smoothly, I think your defence will struggle, whereas if it's dirty ball coming in, that gives you a chance. Yeah,
that's definitely been our difference between round 1 and round 2 as well, because we let it run out of the midfield, and defensively in the midfield we were so poor against the Dogs, and we still kept it close, to be fair, but we dominated out of the middle in that Demons game and really didn't let them just have the run in. And you're exactly right. Like if we let teams feed that ball into our back line quick, we're genuinely no chance. I'm scared about your forward line at the moment because it's looking so good, especially if you've got 3 good key tools up there. Then maybe we have to bring another key into there because Chom one-on-one maybe isn't the best defender, but when he was floating across the packs and taking marks like he did last game, he was very, very good. So, we need him to play that free intercepting role. And if you've got 3 keys down there, it might be a tough day.
And Melbourne seriously lack a forward line, don't they?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
Daniel Turner hasn't quite had the breakout. We nearly announced him last year, I think. We have a habit of doing that. We announced Josh Bruce about 10 years into his career at the Dogs a few years ago on Good Friday. So that was fantastic. From looking at a North Melbourne perspective, maybe from your angle, what do you see? What's our biggest strength, do you think? Or if there is an area that we could maybe get a hold of the Crows, what do you think it might be?
I think you might have an even more skillful ruckman than we do.
Just a little bit.
We're fairly sceptical on Riley O'Brien, if you wanted to know the
Okay.
You say we.
Me. Might be me. Yeah.
So, but I think obviously Cherry brings a lot to your team, and he's an effective midfielder. Whereas for us it's more pressure and tap outs from Rob. So I think he's a big up. And you guys, your drafting seems to be very midfield heavy. So you've got some really strong up and coming players coming through there.
Yeah, I think your midfield's definitely strong, and I think that's probably where we'll have the biggest battle in midfield, I think.
Yeah, I think you've got a class. Well, like maybe, I don't know. I say class edge, but I guess if you're putting Dawson, Matt Crouch and Rankin in our midfield, then, maybe we're looking kind of even. But midfield's what's let us down majorly in the last few years. So I guess we're still a little bit sceptical there. But and we look at yours on paper and, it certainly looks like it matches up well. And obviously Larky's a beast too.
Yeah, I mean, the midfield is always the thing. Every single week when I do the previews with the Opposition Fan podcast, it's always down in the midfield battle. I think that's how the AFL's going so much these days. Our midfield, if we're on top, I think we're one of the harder midfielders to stop. But if we're not, we're also one of the midfields that can leak so much defensively. So that is a massive sort of battle. Our forward line has been fantastic. I mean, Curtis has kicked 6 in 2 games. Larky's leading the Coleman with 8. Zerha kicked 4 last game. Even Darling's kicked 3 in 2 games. That's a part of the ground which last year I think was our biggest problem and maybe has gone to arguably our biggest strength or our most consistent strength potentially. How do you see your back line and your matchups maybe for some of our forwards?
I feel like we've got a bit of a, I don't know, almost like a bit of a hybrid defence, don't we? It's we've got a lot of guys that are kind of the same, but all sort of play tall and small, and are all quite attacking.
And when we were terrible last year, it was probably our back line we felt the happiest about. Yeah. Whereas now that we're going quite well, it's the back line we're feeling that's getting a bit leaky and making a few errors. So not sure. I don't feel super confident with how they've been going at the moment, but. Yeah, I think they're underrated probably competition-wise, some of the players, like someone like Worrell, who's probably starting to get some recognition we've really liked. I think the fact that we've got someone like Anang Curvis who can't make the team, we've got a reasonable amount of depth there. It's just whether they shut down opposition well enough. They attack really well, but can we shut them down enough?
Yeah, we do have quite a bit of speed in our back line, so that's definitely helpful with Mitch Hinge, Max Michaelani and Keane. Not too quick, but he's a good intercept defender as well. So
Keane makes some interesting decisions sometimes.
He does. And Curtis worries me as a player.
Like Paul Curtis?
Yeah. He's someone that I feel would annoyingly tear us apart quite easily if we get that matchup wrong. And I don't know if we've necessarily got, like in the team at the moment, the perfect player for him.
It would have to be someone like a Michaelani to go there, because if we had Bond in the team, he could go that way, but there's just not a spot for him at the moment. We've got Laird sort of back there now.
Who doesn't defend at all.
He's not such a stopper, no. He's a getter. So, so we're certainly vulnerable in that regard.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really interesting to hear because I it's definitely been a strength of ours in the last couple of weeks. I mean, Zerha as well is a little bit of a matchup nightmare because he can sort of play taller if he's on a smaller defender. He can play. He's been playing a little bit smaller while sort of playing on a third tall if the defenders do have that many keys in the back line. Give us some names. Maybe we can go down the line to all three of you. Just name someone who's maybe underrated or someone we wouldn't know about who's playing really well this season. Because personally, I don't know heaps about the Crows. I'm obviously in Melbourne and we hear about all the Melbourne teams and Freo and even Port. I mean, look, I can't stand Port Adelaide, so we've got a mutual bond there. But, name some of the players that you guys think are having really good years that maybe we don't know about over here.
I've got one straight off the bat is our wingman Lachlan Scholl. He's one of our most elite kicks and inside 50. He's probably like underrated because he's not a huge. He doesn't get his hands on the ball super often, but his disposal rate's been really good lately and his efficiency is amazing. He's not a huge tackler, but he can kick a goal as well. So he's like a really good weapon to have that maybe other people don't really know about.
Just trying to think who I would go for.
It's hard as well because we're obsessed by them, so we assume everybody knows everything about these
Come
people.
on, you should know.
But I don't know how much credit that someone like how much Worrell is known out of the Crows because I think in the first game he got like 25 possessions. He did one play where he spoilt the ball, came to ground, he tackled the guy with the ball, it came loose, and then he smothered the ball. So all in the one play. So he is just really hard at it. He's about 190 odd centimetres but can play tall or small. So he's a really versatile attacking sort of defender.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And if I had to give you a name, it'd probably be someone like Michael Lenny, who just does what we need him to every week. And he's probably one of the few defenders that I actually trust with ball in hand to chew off an attacking kick. They all try. It doesn't always work.
So we'll go down the line and do the same thing again, but a different question, obviously. If the Crows are to get up on the weekend, who's going to be the match winner? Who do you think could get free, could get open, could have a big game? Name one player on your team who's going to be the match winner for the Crows?
Sam will hate me if I say this, but it could be Ben Keys. Keysy's just had he's just such
He doesn't
a
do it
hard
2
worker.
weeks in a row, though.
He might.
Oof.
He's just an elite half forward. His work rate is immense, and he just gets up and down the ground. And he'll sneak behind the pack and get it in his hands and kick a goal very quickly. So he could be dangerous, definitely.
Yeah, I think for me, one of three of either. I mean, the obvious two would be Dawson or Rankin that can just take games away. But even particularly like Saligo in his form at the moment, if he is creating spread from the middle and kicking a couple of goals, he can really turn the game in our favour.
Yeah, and if I had to give you one name, I'd probably say Darcy Fogarty because he's just capable of kicking five on any day, especially if the guys get the matchups wrong in the forward line with Tex and Filthy playing there. And the weather's supposed to be pretty nice on Sunday, so they're all probably going to get a go again, I think.
Yeah, no, fair. I think if I'm going to look at it from a North perspective here, what you sort of said before is the same feeling I've got towards it is Paul Curtis or a Cam Zerha could potentially have a big game. I mean, Darling's been able to free up, especially Zerha, a lot more since he's come into the team, giving Nick Larkey a chop out. I mean, all of our forwards kicked multiple goals. Our four main forwards kicked multiple goals last week. So Curtis or Zerha, I think, could have a massive game. How do you think this game is going to play out? Give me a tip. And give me, we already sort of did best on ground, but give me a tip and give me a margin.
Well, if you guys hadn't won on Sunday, I probably would have sat here and said 10 goals to the Crows, but I'm not so confident now. I feel like we'll still win being at home. Adelaide Oval's not a happy hunting ground for you guys. We need to fact check whether you've won here before or not, but I'm going to say that it's going to be reasonably tight to start with, and I wouldn't be surprised if you kick a few goals early. We will chase you down and win by 3 goals.
Okay.
Might I give you my tip?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I think the Crows will win. And, I don't think you'll have as big a demolishing as Essendon did on the weekend. Maybe like a 4-goal win for the Crows.
Okay.
And this is where I'm uncomfortable again because I was saying a 36-point win, but a lot of it would come down to how much pressure you put us under, and if we start making bad decisions, I think that can become contagious, and then you guys might well get a whole lot of momentum going your way. If that doesn't happen, I feel like we should have the firepower in good weather.
No, that's fair enough. I mean, look, honestly, if we were coming up against probably 15 other teams in the league, I would actually kind of feel confident with how we played. I mean, I haven't seen a win like that for probably 8 years or so, even a performance
Really
like
good.
that.
It was a really good win.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's real or not, to be honest. So, I absolutely will be. Everyone at work, I'm a barber, right, and I'm going to be talking footy all week. Even if the clients have no idea what AFL is, they're going to be absolutely hearing about it. So, look, I really wish we weren't coming up against such an informed team this week, even if we were sort of the bottom four of the top 8 and we're coming up against a team like that. I really feel like we could do them with that sort of performance. But the Crows look so good, and I really do think the forward line is a problem just with matchups, because I think our defence looks so good because the Ds lack a good forward line and lack key position players, where the Crows are the complete opposite. So I do think what you were saying before is correct. Like, I think we can come out of the blocks pretty quick, but I do think the Crows are a more physical team and a more confident team right now with how they've been playing. So I do think the Crows might get it in the end. I think we can put up a really good fight though. And if we come out of this game sort of 3 goals or under and playing in a similar way that we played last week, I'm going to feel really good about the game, because the Crows are looking like top 4 at the moment. It's only 2 games in, but they're not the sort of teams you should be messing with just yet, maybe in a few years' time. So I do think the Crows might win this one, but I reckon we're going to hold our own. And I absolutely would not have been saying that about 48 hours ago. I think I would have been saying we're going to get done by 10 goals. So I'm going in fairly positive. I know I haven't tipped us for a win, but I'm going in fairly positive. The last question I might ask you guys before we can wrap it up in a sec. What's it like just every time Port Adelaide sort of acts like they're coming up, you guys just take it away from them and are continuously just dominating Adelaide?
Yeah, it feels good. We always know it's coming though. Classic Port shitting the bed in the finals.
Yeah.
You know, it's tradition.
It is.
The old Port Adelaide tradition, as they say.
It's-
No, it feels good.
Yeah, it's the rivalry's real. We
We hate them.
really do hate them. And yeah, I want them to lose every week. Even playing Richmond and teams like that, which we hate
I
as
did
Crows
pick
fans.
Richmond. Tipped Richmond.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, that went well.
Everyone told me not to, and I was like, no, I will.
Yeah.
Unreal. No, I love seeing Port being a complete and utter mess, and I think that's what they're going to be. I've been saying even all last year that I think their midfield, and biased absolutely, is the most overrated midfield in the competition. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not that biased, but their midfield is so overrated, and they cannot step up in a big moment.
Last year for Port, all year, are saying that a lot of things have gone their way, whether it's just injuries to opposition just as they're out to play them or whatnot. They weren't the strongest looking team to ever finish second, I wouldn't have thought. So, and this year things are certainly not going their way, which is really making it a real test.
We play them in round 6, I believe, over there, which I wish it was over here. The AFL will still refuse to put Jason Horne-Francis at a game at Marvel Stadium against North Melbourne. His mum's probably written into to Gill and now whatever the bloke's name is who's running the league now and saying, please don't put my boy there. I'm scared for him. So
He seems pretty angry at the moment. He'll probably be suspended for your game anyway.
Fantastic. Well, that's not good, because I want to see Cam Zurhaar absolutely put him in the turf again, which was the best moment down in Hobart, which was unfortunately a loss for us. But hey, that moment meant the world to me. All right, last question before we go. Can everyone name a player in history that's played for North Melbourne and Adelaide?
That's Scotty Welsh, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Jason McCartney.
Oh yeah. What's Oh no, I can't think. Oh, Wayne Carey.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's the one.
Yeah.
And Sam Gibson, I believe.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Gibson, yep. Never had a hamstring till he came to our club. So.
That's right. You're welcome. You're welcome for that one. No, that went a lot better than I thought. I thought we were going to be thinking about that one for about 10 minutes, to be fair. I had Gibson and Carey loaded, but no, really good stuff. All right, guys. Well, look, that's about all we need to do. Thanks for jumping on. Good luck for the game. And if you are up, just take it easy on us. We're having a fun time, us North fans. And can you please not just ruin our entire existence?
We'll try not to. Enjoy it, mate. Enjoy it.
We will. Thanks for jumping on, guys. Really appreciate it.
Cheers,
Thanks for
Josh.
having us.
Thank you to the guys at Here We Crow for coming on. Never interviewed 3 people before in one go. So an interesting experience, but thank you so much, guys, for your time. Really cool. They're sitting in the pub. Maybe I should do some podcasts from a pub. That's way cooler than me just sitting in my spare room with a few North bits of memorabilia hanging behind me. So anyway, Thank you so much. Thank you so much to everyone who has come in to the barbershop throughout the week, all the North fans, all the podcast listeners coming to grab a haircut. Love chatting North with you guys. Thank you to all the people who always come in. We've got some regulars now, which is really, really cool. If you want to come in as well, Black and Brown Barbershop next to Mitcham Station. Just go online. You can request me and put Further North in the comments so I can give you extra special service. All right. There's not much news bumming around this week, guys, to be honest. There's been the Maynard stuff. If you haven't checked it out yet, I did do a quick video on my opinions on the Maynard thing. Chaos in the comments like normal, so divisive. Obviously, the internet's always so negative. So anyway, get in there and back me up or tell me how bad I am at football knowledge because plenty of other people do. So that's been fun. That's been fun. I like doing those little news videos. Other than that, there's not really things going on in the North Melbourne world as far as I'm concerned, unless I've missed something pretty crazy. Nothing has really caught my eye. There's been a couple of little reports about LDU. It's more he's going to stay and that sort of stuff. And I think as a North fan-based community, we all sort of feel like he's going to stay. So I'm not too stressed about that. Other than that, we're sort of cruising. It's just been a happy week, which is really, really cool. Let's go to live team reaction. Now, I haven't looked at these teams yet. The only thing I'm thinking of is like the Crows' key position players against our key position players in our defence compared to their forwards. I was initially thinking maybe do we put like a Dawson as the sub instead? But Pink, Core, Comben, I guess, can hold it down. Toby Pink was really good last week. He deserved his spot. And he's earned another week in that spot. If he keeps playing like that, he might be hard to drop when Logue comes back, to be honest. So anyway, can those guys hold it up, or do we put another key position player as the sub so we can swap something out if need be? Our midfielders should all be able to run out the game. Willfield, I guess, is the other interesting one as well. I'm assuming he's still going to be in until Wardlaw comes back, but you know, I did say last week, I don't think him getting subbed all the time is necessarily a bad thing. I mean, look what our midfield did once he got subbed off. And I'm not saying that was directly because of Willfield not being there. I'm just saying maybe the balance was a little bit better. And we had more pieces that complement each other a little bit more. But hey, I think Willfield will play. I don't think there's going to be any major changes. The only query I would have was, do we put an extra key position player on the bench in case the keys are just absolutely cooking us and we need to swap something? That would be the only thing I would do. Other than that, everyone deserves their spot after last week. So let's go to the team. It's going to be an extended squad, but I'm just going to try and get in the brain of Clarkson and have a look. Let's have a look. Okay. Ooh, Hardiman. In Hardiman, Finbar, and Callan Dawson. Interesting, Callan Dawson over Will Dawson. Will Dawson must be pretty far back in the pecking order. That instantly makes me feel like he's going to have another year in the twos, which I don't think is a bad thing per se. No outs, which suggests that is going to be the emergencies on the day. Is there going to be any changes? What changes will I make there? I mean, I don't really understand. Like Finbar being there, I mean, that's cool, but he's not going to play. Hardiman is an interesting one. But who do you drop? Who do you drop after that? Luke McDonald was fantastic. You know, do we need a Hardiman to lock down another one of their, smaller guys perhaps? I mean, you've got Rankin in there, which is going to cause problems. I mean, Neil Bullen's going to start down there. Who's the Rochelle? That's the other one I'm thinking of. Yeah, him. Do we need to sort of watch those guys in the forward line a little bit? I know Rankin can go through the middle. And then Taylor Walker, Thilthorpe. I can never say that name properly. That's me, guys. That's awful because it's Thilthorpe, but I think it's pronounced Tilthorpe. Let me know if I'm wrong with that. I don't really care, to be honest. And Darcy Fogarty, who I like. So, yeah, geez, that's big. And that's direct matchups for core, Pink and Comben. But then Comben was so good as the interceptor. So maybe we play Callan Dawson. And who do we drop, though? Maybe, do we want Chom trying to intercept and 3 other key defenders down there? That just doesn't make sense. Maybe we can try and get someone. Is Taylor Walker that damaging anymore? I don't know. I haven't watched enough Crows, to be honest. But look, that's going to be a very, very interesting sort of matchup nightmare that we're going to have. Hardiman's probably the only one I can see coming in. Dawson, I can see it, but it just doesn't make sense on paper, does it? So I don't really know. They're saying Finbar debut game down here again. Let's not get fooled by that like I nearly did last time. Rory Laird for the Crows, 250 games. That's nice. I mean, I can't see any of them coming in. Let me know in the comments below who you think you would change. Would you bring any of those 3 in, and who would you take out? And you can't just say Luke McDonald as the easy way out, because Luke McDonald was fantastic last week, and anyone who plays that well should not be dropped. The only players I could think is Dylan Stevens, potentially, but he played okay. He was really solid when he came on, especially controlling the ball and making sure the Ds didn't have the possession. He came on at the end of the third as well, so he was there when it was a tighter game. And I guess Darcy Tucker, maybe for Hardiman, potentially. But once again, Tucker sort of played his role and did his job. He didn't do anything incredible. He didn't do anything shocking to me. He was just sort of there ticking it over. So maybe a Hardiman for a Tucker. Maybe Hardiman can make more of an impact, but I don't know. Hardiman's only played 3 or 4 games. So, yeah, we'll see. Other than that, nothing really I would change. Fantastic stuff across the board for us. I really don't know why they named Bailey Scott at halfback and Finn O'Sullivan, on the wing when we know that's going to be swapped. But hey, is what it is. All right. I mean, let's tip some games, because that's about all there really is to talk about this game. I'm still a bit nervous. I do think, were Adelaide playing against the Saints and the Bombers, just playing against slightly weaker opposition? I know St Kilda came back and beat the Cats, but they also got smashed the week before. So is that a thing, or are we better than... I know it's 1 week and I'm trying to keep the lid on, but can we actually compete? I think if we can keep this within 3 to 4 goals and play in a similar manner than we did, I will be pretty happy with this. But if it was anyone but the top 4 teams in the league right now, I would almost be expecting to win, which is so... I feel like Marnie Cohen. This is wild. Good job, Marnie. You've finally implanted that in my brain. So anyway, it'll be really, really interesting in a couple of days to talk about the final selection, because I personally can't see any of those guys coming in, but I can see an argument for Hardiman and Dawson. Finbar, I think, is just there to make up the numbers, unfortunately. I'd be probably giving Teakle another crack over him personally. I know other people won't like that, but Teakle, I think, deserves a shot. 24, kicked a goal a game, no preseason with us. I just think he deserves a shot. But hey, who cares? He's not even in the squad. All right, let's tip some games and get you guys out of here, because there's really not much more to talk about, to be honest. All right, Essendon Port Adelaide has just kicked off. 16-12, Essendon's favour. I tipped Port by 10, but I reckon this one could go any way. Essendon have played Adelaide and Hawthorn, probably the two best teams this season. Now, do I think Essendon are going to be great this year? Absolutely not. But you've got to take that into consideration. I don't think they're quite as bad as people make them out. I think the whole doomsday thing that's been around, 2 60-point losses is not okay, and I understand that. But I don't know. I don't think Port are that great either. Most overrated midfield in the league. And I don't think I tipped them in the 8 this year. So I tipped Port in my, tipping comp at work. So I'm going to stick with the tips I went there. I went Port by 10. But I don't know. I reckon this can go anyway. Western Bulldogs, Carlton. I went the Bulldogs at Marvel. You just can't trust Carlton right now. They need to bounce back at some point. It's funny. If Carlton don't win this one, they're not beating the Pies next week, and they're going to be 0-4 going into a game against West Coast. And if your club is in a do or die game against West Coast, it's not going very well. So we've been there plenty of times. So I'll go the Bulldogs, but I think Carlton are a sniff. They need to perform. They need to do something. Gold Coast and Melbourne, gross. I don't care. I actually went the Ds because I just don't believe in the Gold Coast. It was 1 win against a rubbish team. I don't believe in I think Melbourne need to bounce back, don't they? And I think sometimes the week off that early in the season isn't great. So I'll go Melbourne. Not confident, super confident, but I'm going to go Melbourne. Richmond, St Kilda. You'd expect St Kilda to win. Once again, another game you can sort of see going both ways. Really interesting this week. But yeah, I'll tip the Saints after their performance. If they didn't perform like that and lost to Geelong the way I thought they would, this would be such an interesting game. Richmond, I hope they keep losing, to be honest. You won 3 premierships. Please be worse than us. And you guys can grab the spoon and we'll just start shifting up the ladder a bit. Now, the 2 games that clashed, the 2 best games of the round. Hawthorn and the Giants. Down at UTAS, I got to go the Hawks. I hate the Hawks, but, good on them. Good day. Aaron Fernando, if you're listening to this, I don't like the Hawks, mate, but I like you. So I've got a tiny soft spot, even though I like to hate the Hawks. But I think the Hawks down there, they just don't lose down there, do they? So, yeah, the Hawks will get that one. I think the Giants are going to win the flag, though. I will keep that as my tip for the season. Brisbane and Geelong. I've tipped the Cats here. Brisbane have not impressed me so far. Have not impressed me. I know they've won two. They've won 2 games. They've played 2, won 2. But none of them have been convincing. I mean, anyone who struggles against West Coast means you mustn't be that good. So I just don't back them fully yet. They don't look as sharp. They don't look as on. And they lack key forwards, which I think are a very important position still. So I've actually gone the Cats. The Cats don't lose very often at all. And I think especially against the Saints, even though I guess they did lose to the Saints last year at Marvel. But I think the Cats will bounce back. That's more the point I'm going with here. I think the Cats will bounce back. But that's a big tip. I'm swerving a little bit because I'm third last in my tipping this year. Adelaide, North Melbourne, you guys already know my thoughts on that. And Fremantle, West Coast. I'm going to tip Fremantle and Harley Reid to get suspended for doing something. What an overrated player he is. Does that satisfy you guys? Or am I just the most petty fan? Like, I know Harley Reid's probably winning a Brownlow one day, but it kind of is satisfying to see him getting 12 touches a game and just getting frustrated. I don't know if that's just my negativity because I've seen nothing but losing for 5 years, but hey, they're the only team that's been consistently down there with us, and it's nice that we feel a bit better than them at the moment, to be honest. Anyway, there's my tips. Collingwood and Sydney have a bye. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. We can get you guys in and out pretty quick today. Thank you for listening. Follow us on socials. The TikTok is going off at the moment. Thank you to everyone who follows it over there. I do some cool content. It's all on Instagram as well. That's probably the best place to follow the show, interact with me, be a part of the podcast sometimes with questions and voice messages and things. So get on the Instagram. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please, if you can give me a 5-star review and leave a little comment, that would be fantastic. That helps it get up there in the algorithm. And anyone types in football or sports or kangaroos, that one will come up. So it does help me a lot. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. The YouTube is going very, very well. Leave me a positive comment, please. Sometimes they're nice. And yeah, love you guys. That's the best. All right. See you later. Go North.